Welcome everyone. How are you guys doing? It is so good to see everyone in the chat room so quickly, so early. I have a very... first of all, I want to be really upfront with you. After the last live stream that I did, we had some technical problems at this end, and I had to go and reformat my whole computer, which meant everything that I had put together over the last 2 years was not in the cloud. So we've tried to rebuild the stream, and I was just as we were rolling that, you might have seen some of the video was staggering. I'm going to, on the fly, I'm going to try and fix that up. So please let me know if you've got any problems. But you know what? The show must go on, even if this isn't Hollywood. Welcome to the Lockdown live stream. My name is Gil Posnanski. You might have seen some changes over the last month on YouTube. We are no longer called the Gil Posnanski Show. We are the Laser Livestream, and you're going to see that not only is my YouTube channel branded that way, but so is the live stream. New shelf in the back. This thing here? No, I just made the image a little bit wider. But it is good to see everyone. Well, as I was saying, welcome aboard. Adrian, how you doing, my friend? It's good to see you as well. You know what? Let's see if this works. Let's see. Let's go to the chat room. Look, the chat room is still here. It's, you know what? Small, tiny successes. It took me a little bit. I spent a couple of days trying to rebuild everything. I hope you guys like it. But let's go to the chat room right away. I see Mike coming in saying happy 2022. So happy 2022 to you too, Mike. Happy New Year. I hope you've had a fantastic year. I hope you've already started getting creative with your laser. I also see Bubbly T coming in saying hello. Now, Bubbly T and I know each other in real life. And it's always good to see Bubbly T come in, because the Bubbly T is not the conventional laser user, but he is an inspirational maker in his own right. So it is totally awesome to see what was going on there. We got Audrey from Melbourne. Good to see you again. Thank you so much, Audrey. Well, who else? We got Dominic, the man from Darkly Labs, comes in and says hello. Turn up a bit. Okay, so the audio's a bit down. No problems, man. How's that? How about that? Is that a little bit better for you? I don't want to blow out anyone's ears, but let me know if that works. I'm scanning the chat room, trying to make sure that everything's going well. WT's vacation was good. How was yours? Mine was a little bit intense. You know, I think for everyone right now, the last couple of months have been incredibly intense. So go a bit more volume. You guys can't hear me. Hold on. Is this better? Hello? I don't know. Maybe I'll just bring it a little bit closer. That's heaps better? All good? Okay. Not a problem. Let me go back to the chat room. I love it when everyone turns up and everyone's here. Let me see if... I'm getting like messages from YouTube telling me that things are poor. Why is it poor? You see, my stream was healthy and now it's not that good. I'm going to try to do something right here. So give me a second. I may stagger a little bit, but I'm trying to up the bandwidth. I've never had this problem before. I've got a feeling right now, let's see if I can do this. Because as I was saying to you guys, the real shame of this is the fact that I had everything configured correctly and it was going really super well. And now it's kind of not doing it. I'm not too sure. I'm trying. Maybe that's going to happen. I'm hoping. We'll see exactly what's going on. All right, let's get back to the chat room really quick. I hope I didn't stagger too much. Every time I try to go into the settings while we go live, it kind of messes up. It may be an internet connection at my end with the ISP. I don't think so, but you never know. We've never had that problem before. I guess I got 2 weeks after this to work it all out, but we'll see what's going on. All right, let's go. I see Rock and Rob. DJ Rock and Rob, how you doing, my friend? I gave a lot of thought to your suggestion that you made last year, so we're going to put that into play. Next Laser Livestream, guys, you gotta check it out. You gotta come on board. If you're a laser user, if you're working on learning software and learning to use your laser for a side business, if you're being creative, if you are here just because of the light burn tutorials that I've been putting up, you do not want to miss what's coming up next Laser live stream. And it's all because of Rock and Rob. So it's cool, man. It's great. Let's go back. Now I see Sinister 9, LOL. New person. Good to see you, my friend. Welcome to the Laserologist Society, otherwise known as the Laser Livestream. Let's see what's going on. Everyone's saying hello to everyone, which is awesome to see. Kent, I think, Kent, are you a first timer on the stream? Let me know. I don't think I've met you before, Kent, on the live stream. So if this is your first time, welcome. You asked me for a little bit more volume, and that's exactly what we did. Adrian also asked, Adrian, how you doing, my friend? I know that we were speaking during the break. I hope everything's been settled down and you're all established. That's awesome to see. Sounds great. Fantastic. Well, the microphone works. Very cool. Sounds good. Nah, that was great. I'm glad to hear that bubble tea. Sounds good now. I got headphones on. Well, that's going to happen. Alexander, another name that I haven't met before. Alexander, how are you doing? And I hope that everything is going well for you. If this is your very first time in here, come on in, say hello. You are now a Laserologist. You are part of the Laser Livestream community. And if this is the very first time that you've been here, if you haven't checked this out before, go into the description and hit that Facebook group link, because all the people you're going to talk about and all the people who you're going to interact with today, they're all hanging out there, and that is a great way to be able to share your work so that we can actually take a look at it here on the live stream. So please feel free to do that. Let's see what else is going on. So many great people. It's cool. Internet connection on your end with the ISP. It probably is, probably is, but we'll see what happens. Oh, you know what? I changed something. Let me go and see if I can. I'm going to do this again. Maybe you guys are going to jump. I can't change it while I'm on the fly. I will work it out. I'm going to have to speak to YouTube or my ISP. Either way, we'll work it out. So, Alexander, welcome. I'm really glad that you're with us. Dominic's asking if my internet has COVID. Everything has COVID. The whole world is COVID right now. It's kind of crazy. Audrey's saying the stream looks good to you. Fantastic. Mike says sound and video all clear on our end too. Fantastic. Thank you so much for letting me know. And you have multiple projects on the go. Mike, when don't you? That's what we love you here. We love to see what you guys come up with. Kent is a first timer. Perfect. Welcome, Kent. And Adrian saying, been very busy currently doing a third job. Oh, lots of sleepless nights. It's a bit of a hard task. Yeah, some people don't have jobs, but I'm glad you're doing well, my friend. I'm really, really glad. Get some sleep. Sleep is kind of a weird thing. You got to have it. You keep pushing too hard, everything drops. I learned that out at the end of last year when I did about 10 weeks, no break, every weekend, every day. And I think you guys saw what was happening to me at the end. Like the Christmas stream, I was not at 100%, but I took a little bit of time off. I'm feeling much, much better. So that's kind of cool. About to buy an X-Tool D1. Interesting, Kent. Why an X-Tool? Just out of curiosity, let us know in the chat room. Maybe we can change your mind. Maybe Dominic is going to ask, give you another option. So we'll see what happens. Bubble Tea's had enough of COVID. So have I. It's not a problem. Welcome, everyone. It's so good. This is an awesome way to start the year. Like I said, just really quickly, what the live stream's all about and what this channel's all about is basically building a community so that we can share our journey when it comes to laser projects and laser work. There's a lot of reasons why people get into lasers. So if you are doing a side business, or you're curious about the technology, or you want to learn how to make things just for your own sake and your own maker curiosity, welcome on board. Come on over. And you know what? I love this. I love all of this sort of stuff. So that is cool. Now, one of the things that I want to acknowledge straight off the bat is the fact that this live stream wouldn't happen if it wasn't for two amazing companies that I think are influential to the laser community, and that is Here we go. I'm back. Sorry, guys. My audio dropped. I just went into my spiel, so I'll start again. Darkly Labs is one of our sponsors here on the live stream, an amazing company that has created the Emblazer range of laser cutters. If you are in an office, if you're in a classroom, and you want access to laser cutting, no problems. These guys have it covered. I have actually have my Emblazer 2 sitting right next to where I am live streaming right now. So yeah, sorry guys, that was a problem. I messed it up when it came to setting up this thing, but that's okay. And of course, we want to thank Lightburn Software. Basically, if you're not using Lightburn software on your laser, you may be spending too much time setting up your laser projects. I know this firsthand. When I started using lasers, I used to use CanBam, great CNC software, but not designed for lasers. Lightburn changed that up. Both companies, Darkly Labs and Lightburn Software, have really come to the bat to be able to help get these live streams, and I am incredibly, incredibly thankful for not just the support on these live streams, but getting to know both companies and the people behind them. So I'm sure we will see more interviews with Jason, who is the brains behind Lightburn. A lot of the tools and the simplicity of using that software comes directly from Jason. And of course, we also have Dominic, who is the hardware end when it comes to the Emblazer range of lasers. And I got a feeling, I don't know anything. Maybe we can bug him in the chat room. But I think 2022 is going to be the year remembered for the next step in diode lasers. That's all I'm saying. Right now, he's like, shut up, Gil. Don't say anything. You don't know what's going on. Why would I know anything? But I have a sneaking suspicion that some of the things that we might have touched on in the last year will come to fruition here. Of course, we're still waiting for all the borders to open up and all the different kind of components to turn up. But I'm super excited about that, and it is going to be an awesome year. In fact, I got a feeling we might even take the live stream out of my office, and we might take it on the road. I can't say more than that, but it's going to be really, really cool. I see everyone, look at this in the chat room, already telling me audio dropped. I apologize. That was my fault. I totally get it. Emblazer are great. They can do both. I see people already talking about it. 3D jobs, good cutting a thing. Jen says hello to everyone. No problem. Hi, Jen. I hope everything's going well. Audio dropped. Thank you so much. Kent, for the same price, you can get a core. Larger work area. See, speak to Adrian right over there. Adrian knows he has both a diode laser, CO2 laser, 3D printers. This man is constantly making. That's why I like him so much. Sound's gone. I think I was able to fix that up. The audio mixed with the video. Oh, it did? Oh, well, the show must go on. Houston, we do have a problem. We do. But thankfully, I don't have to loop around the moon to get back to fix it. We were able to get there. I'm in the middle of a Lightburn project right now. Rock and Rob, what are you creating? That's what I want to know. He's listening to us and working on Lightburn. How awesome is that? Last conversation with Jason had some great information. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. I don't know if I told you, but I get such a kick out of talking to Jason, because not only do I get to talk to Jason about Lightburn, he is truly a maker at heart. And if you guys have hung out at this channel long enough, if you go back a little bit, you'll see that I spent a lot of time interviewing makers from all around the world, talking about their passion to create. And it's just such a pleasure to be able to speak to them. That's one of the reasons why I enjoy working with Lightburn to get the word out. The same way I like working with Dominic. It's so cool to be able to go and hang out. It's not often that I get to hang out with companies, but I've done that at Darkly Labs. I see people coming in, they got a problem, it gets fixed. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Greatest customer service I've ever seen in a company. And it's because they care. So you know what? It's also cool. I think we've acknowledged the sponsors way too much, but that's only because I'm so excited to be able to be part of this project. What are we doing on the live stream today? So, wow, I actually jumped the wrong button again. So how about we go to the intentions of the live stream, because this live stream is not just about Lightburn tutorials, but we are actually here to create an interactive laser community. That is why we do the live streams. I love doing the tutorials, but I can't do this with you when I'm doing a tutorial. It's one way. And this is why I love, because this right here, that's the next level. That's what makes community. You interacting with me, and I'm able to interact with you. So that's our first intention when we are creating the laser community, the laser live streams. If you're watching right now, you're a laserologist. And if you haven't reached out, you don't even know you're a laserologist. So welcome. The second intention is we're going to support all laser users. It's not just about diode lasers, it's not just about CO2 lasers, it's not just about fiber lasers, it's not just about laser pointers, it's not all about CD lasers, it's not all about lightsabers, it's about every person who wants to interact with this technology. And in fact, we're going to talk about that to a greater level in this live stream tonight. We're also going to share our knowledge because, the truth of the matter is, while I know some really, really amazing stuff, there are other people who know amazing stuff in different areas. We've spoken to people from I was going to say Nicky Norton's Den of Lasers, who look at creating images on tiles, on being able to use lasers to translate into imagery. I'm not an expert, but I've learned a lot hanging out with them and also sharing that knowledge. So we want you to share your knowledge with us as well. And the last thing is we want to learn from everyone. I don't have every answer. Dominic doesn't have every answer. Jason might, but I think there are some areas he might not. We want everyone to throw in their knowledge because together we are stronger than we are apart. So these are the Laser Livestream intentions. I haven't done this in a while. I'm a little rusty. You forgive me? I hope so. You may be thinking, that's great, Gil. I want to be involved in this community. What can I do? How can I do it? What's going on here? Well, if you want to get involved, the very first thing that you can do, if this is your very first time at this channel, go and hit that subscribe button, because hitting that subscribe button actually tells YouTube people are coming out and hanging out with Gil and all this laser stuff. It makes it easier for other people to be able to come in and actually find this content. And when it comes to the live streams, please chat. You guys can see, and I can see right now, I've got a whole window, a monitor on its side full of chat. I love the interaction. These are the differences between the videos and the live streams. Believe me, the live streams here kind of scare the hell out of me because I can't edit myself out. If I go, or I say the wrong thing, it's there. The show must go on. So you know what? Take advantage and chat with me. We also have now new ways to be able to get in contact with everyone here at the Laser Livestream. Of course, we still have our email. So if you may be watching a replay or you want to share something with us, maybe it's a project, maybe it's a tip, you can get in contact with us at laser.livestream@gmail.com. And of course, we have the world famous Facebook group, which you can get to from www.facebook.com/group/laserlivestream. It's awesome. That group actually just recently hit 1,000 members. I can't believe that we were able to do that. Christmas time, we were talking about 700. We're already at 1,000. Sky's the limit. And you know what's so great about that? All the people there, they share information. They share what they know. They share their triumphs, their projects. It is incredibly, incredibly inspiring to be able to see. So definitely, if you're not a member of the Facebook group already, please. That's the best way to get in contact with not just me, but everyone in the community. The other ways you can get in contact with us is we now have an Instagram and we have a Twitter. So it's Laser Livestream for the Instagram. Now there's a dot in the Twitter name, but if you search Laser Livestream, you will find us as well. We are building that up. I got to be honest with you, I'm not a huge social media person. I'm learning as I go along, but you're going to be able to see more content out there between the live streams, and it's a great way again for you to be able to share some of the content and some of the things that we are going to be hosting here on the live stream. So it is awesome. I do want to throw really quickly to the chat room right here, and I want to acknowledge Dean, because Dean just came in and he said, hi, I'm from the UK. Great to see you, Dean. Now Dean, I'm going to take a punt. First time here at the Laser Livestream? If so, welcome. You've just become a laserologist, and we're really glad to meet you. Let us know what kind of laser you have, and like I was saying before, go into the description and let us know. First, go into the description. You can say hello there if you want to, but what I did want to say is join the Facebook group and share some of your projects with us so we can get to know you. That's the only way we're going to get to know each other, is to be able to share different projects and knowledge. So there you go. Also, with the getting involved, you know what? I am rusty. I take 1 month off and I lose my whole mojo. There's also 2 other ways that you can get involved if you want. The first one is, as you're watching this live, if you look in your chat room, chat thing, I'm looking at this one here. There's like a money symbol and a smiley face and something else. One of those, I think it's the dollar sign, that's a super chat. And what happens is that you can actually buy these super chats. You can put a value to it. Part of it goes to YouTube, part of it goes to me, and that or it goes to the stream, because all the donations here on the stream go back into buying some materials or helping get all the different things for the videos. So if you might have learned something today, or you really appreciate something that's going on in the live stream, you can do that. You can do that publicly. Otherwise, you can also go into the description, and there is a one-time PayPal donation link, and you can give whatever you feel you would like towards this project and towards the Laser live stream. And you can write a note that comes directly to me. And I, over the Christmas, there was 1 or 2 people who actually kind of reached out that way, and I'm forever touched. So I don't want to say too much, because I know that sometimes people like to give without saying what's going on. But I want to thank both of, I want to thank the people who have done that. For me, it is, it's kind of amazing to wake up in the morning and see that, you know, it's one thing for people to write in the comments, hey, you know what, thanks so much for your video, or I really like your video, or well, that's cool. I love all of that. But there's another level when they say, you know what, here's a couple of dollars. I really like what you're doing. Please go out and continue what you're doing. You know what? You know that old saying, talk is cheap, right? But yeah, that every single time that happens, there's something inside me that goes, wow, you know what? I didn't really want to do another video. I didn't want to spend all my Sunday away from the family and all the rest of it, but I'm glad I'm able to help, because this is what I'm passionate about. So thank you so much. All right. Now, let's talk about what's on the show tonight. We're going to get there. First of all, what's on the live stream tonight? First of all, we're going to go through the Laserologist Showcase. That's where we look at projects that other people have made over the last couple of weeks. In this case, it is over a month. I've tried to grab some of the projects that I've really enjoyed exploring and being shared. Then we're going to talk about safety in the laser cutter. This is really important, because over the Christmas, New Year break, and just after New Year's, I kept seeing stuff on Facebook, on Twitter, people making really common safety mistakes with lasers. So I want to actually start this new segment where we can have a conversation back and forth. This is not going to be just a presentation, but I also want to hear from you guys, because I think it's really important to understand. And we're also going to go look at the good and the bad and the ugly. That's our series on different types of materials that people use in their lasers. So that's a way for us to be able to talk about what is really good to put in your laser, what's bad to put in your laser, what you should never put in your laser. And again, one of the themes that you'll see on the Laser Livestream is safety. Laser technology is pretty amazing, and now the cost has come down that people can have lasers in their own homes. I want to make sure that every person's experience with a laser is a positive one. Positive in so many different ways. So it's kind of cool. Let's quickly, I can't ignore the chat room. So let's go and check it out. Let's go and see here. Adrian's not getting any sleep. He's 15-hour prints. Wow, 15-hour prints are huge. My son asked me to make a book press. So you're making a knob on your laser for the book press. He wants to make some hardcover books in variety, small size. That's awesome. I want to see, Rob, I know you're in the Facebook group. Can you send a photo of your book press? I've been known to take thread and bind some books back in the day. So I'm very, very curious about that. Mike Culver saying Darkly Labs is dominating. Yes, absolutely. Although I haven't seen, I think Dominic's going home, but that's okay. That's not a problem. Or maybe I just made him blush with the whole talking up Darkly Labs. But hey, it's from the heart. It's very true. Currently designing a 6-inch knob to press the plates together. I want to definitely see that. Dean, we said hello to before. Audrey saying that it sounds like a tricky project. I think it could be. Are you going to laser cut the threads? That's what I want to know. I got a feeling Rock and Rob will come back with us with the answer. And we hereby dub the Laserologist. Absolutely. Every person who comes in is a Laserologist. Very cool. All right, so let's jump into it. And let's take a look at the latest Laserologist showcase. And our very first offering comes from Alan Fox. Alan's a brand new, or has been, I think he came in on the last Laser Livestream, but it is awesome to see. He's been working with the guys down at the Norton's Den of Lasers. Look at these images, man. These are amazing. This is actually inspiring me to go back and play with my laser a little bit more on some of the tile artwork. This is the Norton method here. On the left, you look at that dinosaur with the, I think it's a cat. It's awesome. He hasn't used white paint. He's used a cream colored paint, and the look almost looks like an old style photo on the right hand side. And I've got a feeling Alan's a bit of a science fiction fan like I am. You've got this almost pulpy science fiction kind of artwork with something looking at a whole bunch of people. The depth that he's getting out of these tiles are amazing. Amazing. Alan, this is just phenomenal work. I hope Alan can join us live on the Laser Livestream, because I'd love to talk to him about his work, but that is just awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Moving on. Andrew is a brand new laserologist, not just to the group, but he has his first laser that he's working with. And you can see here are some coasters that he's been playing with. One for a dog training and pet service, and that is pretty awesome. Andrew's going to learn how to tweak some of his power levels so he doesn't get that kind of burning around the lettering, but it is still awesome to see what he is doing here. And then you can also see the coaster for Kingfisher Suncraft, which is pretty awesome. Since these are kind of his first projects, these are awesome to see. This is a great start. And you know what? A lot of people struggle just to get to this sort of point as well. So, Andrew, done a fantastic job, my friend. I can't wait to see what happens next, because I think you are going to have a very, very interesting, and I just think you're scratching the surface. You're already hitting it out of the park. So that's awesome. Well done. Now, Draw has come in, and he works again with a lot of tile artwork. But what I like about this stuff is that he is using alcohol markers to actually color in the tiles and give it a bit of depth. And these are a series of horses that he shared with us on the Laser Livestream Facebook group. This is pretty amazing stuff, especially the bottom one. The grass behind the horse is, wow, man. I mean, this reminds me of old school photography, and it is really good. Really, really good to be able to see that. Dominic, you're right, 100%. I'm just going to go back 1 second, Draw. Give me a second. The Andrew's charring around the letters of the overburn, if you have a air assist on your machine, if you turn it on, it will help make sure that charring doesn't happen. So I don't know what kind of machine you have, but please let us know. That's a great tip. Thank you, Dominic. Keep developing this alcohol-based coloring of your tiles. This is something that's really new, but it is so much fun to be able to see. And these old style photos, when they recolor them, this is what this kind of feels to me. It's definitely becoming an art form in its own right. Well done. Then we've got our very own Jen. And Jen, I don't think is on right now, but she made this Batman sign. I think it's for a cousin, I think. Maybe Mike can let us know. But it is great. You can see, and I've got a sneaking suspicion that this could be actually cut out of 3mm black acrylic. That's what it looks like to me. And again, it's so interesting to see how you can take multiple shapes, weld them together, and make these amazing signs that people put on their doors. It is awesome. Oh, Mike's also sharing with us that Draw has an example on Facebook of before he colors it and after. I will definitely share that next time. Jen's watching. That's okay. And I am correct on the idea that it's 3mm perspex, solid perspex. So there you go. It is really, really cool to be able to see what's going on there. And Rock and Rob also showing us that he's just blown away at the level of art displayed in these amazing laserologists. I make things, not just art. I will challenge you on that. I'm sorry, Rob. I'm going to have to bounce out of that. I will challenge you. I think if you make something, you're an artist. If it comes from the soul, if it speaks to you, even if it's just a practical thing, dude, you're an artist. You just don't know it right now. It's awesome. So, Jen, awesome work. I love the fact that people are going and using acrylic on diode lasers. You know, a lot of people think, diode laser, can't cut acrylic. Well, you can, and Jen showed us how. This is, Karen's a new member to the Laserologist family, and she actually used her in Blazor to mark these leather wallets. These are amazing look. She put these in. You can see that she's used the laser to kind of embroider. Is the embroider the right word? I'm kind of searching for it right now. But look at the texture on these wallets. These are amazing. And that's something, you know, that's incredibly, incredibly inspiring to see how people take different materials, interpret it once it's in the laser. Karen, this is amazing work. I want to see more of this. I'm curious as to what it is that and where you go with taking leather and being able to kind of pattern it and stipple it to make a new experience. I know we were talking about the what dangers might be involved in using leather. It really comes down to the chemicals that people use to tan the leather and to seal it. But if you can work that out, that's pretty amazing. Just the look of that is just fabulous, man. Just make sure that the leather, there you go. See, Mike's in there too. Wallets look great. Just make sure that the leather is laser safe. Absolutely. And Dominic sharing that with Karen too, there's a really good result on the leather. That's phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. I want a wallet like that. Keith is again a new laserologist working on his laser for I think just in the last couple of weeks, and he made a Valentine, I believe, to his wife, Judy. And again, I love the different layers. You've got, you know, the red of the heart is one layer, and then you've got the Be Mine kind of out inlay that fits over the top. Fantastic work there, Keith. Love it. Marcos, one of another Australian laserologist. Marcos does a lot of coasters, but he is now doing, what do they call these? Cutting boards. That's exactly what it is. So Marcos, great work. I know that he had a pile of different cutting boards, and you can see the result on this one. Really professional work. Awesome. Our very own Mike Culver. Also, the Batman signs are very powerful in the Culver family. So there you go. This is Emily's door sign, which is cut out. I'm assuming that's MDF. I'm sure that Mike will come back. If it's not MDF, it's definitely laser ply. But it looks a little bit like MDF to me. So it's awesome work. I'm sure Mike will come back in a second and let us know what that is. Near also has made this. This is pretty stunning. This is a file that he got from Etsy. Basically, just cut the parts and put it together. But this is a chest that he was able to put together, and it's again pretty amazing to be able to see that this is the result that you can get from your laser cutter. Take a plan, put material in it, varnish it, seal it, put it together, and that's pretty amazing. It kind of, you know what it looks like to me? Just a little bit. It looks a little bit like the chest that like Obi-Wan Kenobi gave Luke Skywalker his lightsaber. I'm just tying it all in. I'm tying it all into the lasers tonight, guys. Or it could be that I'm just obsessed. I have no idea, but that is pretty awesome. Great job there, Near. It is laser ply. Yep. Emily chose the Batman symbol. Awesome. It is really, really cool to see that everyone's enjoying what you can make on your laser. Now, Todd is again another new laserologist at the Facebook group. This is pretty amazing. He made this Sharps badge, and again, I'm like, what amazing application of laser technique here, because you've got the shield underneath the base of it. Then you've got the actual police shield, which is made up of 3 different layers and of 3 different pieces of material. And you've also got a whole lot of lettering and pieces cut out. That is so awesome to be able to see what is going on. Todd basically took a whole bunch of different shapes and was able to put this together. It is amazing. So yeah, see, Dominic said not just about Near, but I'm sure he'll say this about Todd's too. These projects take a lot of work to be able to pull off, and it is pretty amazing. Todd, thank you so much for sharing this. This is actually really inspirational. I've spoken about my love of space travel and NASA. I'm kind of inspired to see if I can get a mission patch together and see if I can put it in the laser. We'll see what we can do. Maybe I'll have to do that as a tutorial, or maybe I'll do it live. We'll see what happens. Good job, Todd. I'm sure whoever received that shield is going to love it. Then with Wayne created this pretty awesome garage for Hot Wheels cars. I'm assuming it might be a grandchild or son called Ellie, or daughter called Ellie too, who knows. But I thought this was really, really awesome. I love the petrol Bowsers. The petrol Bowsers there are just so cute and so awesome. And again, I love building models, so there you go. This is a very, very simple model, but boy, is it effective. Wayne, this put a smile on my face when I saw it on Facebook. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It is so much fun. I hope Ellie makes a fortune, and at least gets a Tesla, so he doesn't have to work in the garage. So it's kind of cool. And we've also, I wanted to share this too. This is from Bullfrog FPV. I'm going to assume that he is a drone enthusiast, and his plan is that to make models available using paint stirring sticks, not popsicle sticks, but paint stirring sticks. And you can see here, this is his first model of a drone that you can put together using 3 paint sticks. Very cool. Look how small, right across. It's only 53 mil right across. That's small, but what a cute design. So I'm looking forward to see what Bullfrog comes up with next. It's awesome, and thank you so much for sharing that. It is really, really cool. Really cool. I want to share one last thing. Now, this came as a bit of a surprise. After our last live stream, I happened to do a very quick drop-in visit to Darkly Labs, and I just happened to have a package waiting for me, and it was this amazing little Redheads packet from our very own. Oh, you know what? This is crazy. How can I forget her name? Eleanor. Eleanor created a little Redhead match box for me as a little Christmas gift. This is kind of awesome. That's me there. And you can actually open it up. And, look, and check this out. It's even got the striking area. Eleanor is just freaking amazing as far as I'm concerned. There was a little tree with a message, but look at the amazing work that she had done. She actually placed in here this little heart that has all this gearing in, and left me this beautiful note as well that this can move around. Just saying how much she's enjoyed the live streams, the videos, and going on her own kind of adventure. You can see here it says Merry Christmas 2021, and at the back of it she's got an Australian kangaroo. I got a lovely notes, lovely gifts over Christmas from family and all the rest of it, but I must say this was completely unexpected, and everyone's going, you know her name, it's Elaine. Of course I do. I got there. But this was an incredibly unexpected gift and incredibly thoughtful. It says here, it says Redheads contains 47 matches, but it says for matchless live streams just under here. It's going to be blurry, and I don't want to change the focus, but this was something that I totally appreciated, and I know came from the heart, and it was just so wonderful to be able to receive that. So Elaine, thank you so much. I know that we converse more on email than anything else, and I just wanted to say that I really appreciated the gift. It sits on my desk and on my table all the time. It is just it made my Christmas. Everything that I got made my Christmas. All the messages and all the rest of it, that was totally unexpected, and it's just amazing. She is absolutely amazing. I agree totally, Dominic. We are guessing by the quality. Oh, it's definitely Elaine. I want to get Elaine. You know what? I'm going to do this right here, because I've spoken to her a number of times. Here's the chat room, Elaine. I know you watch this. Everyone put Elaine's name in the chat room if you want her to come on here and talk to us live on the Laser Livestream. No pressure. Elaine, no pressure. But if you guys want Elaine to come onto the Laser Livestream so I can interview her and talk about all her amazing projects, gifts, how she makes things with the in Blazor. I don't think she realizes how inspirational her work is. So what I'm going to get you guys to do is just in the chat room, in capital letters, put in Elaine's name, and I want to see that all come up, in there, so she can see for herself that there is a whole lot of people who would like to talk to her. So while that comes across, don't worry, Gil's names are hard. I am terrible at names. I am totally terrible at names. When I go and teach classes, the first thing I say to them is, I'm going to remember each and every one of you, but I will never, ever be able to remember your name unless I give you a nickname. And a lot of people look at me like crazy. So half the time I tell them to call me Roger. It's a really weird thing. Look at this, Elaine. Look, right below there. People, Elaine. There you go. I put it out there. Publicly. Right now she's probably like, it's never going to happen. But that's okay. You know what? I would love to be able to go and see what... I would love to talk to you directly a lot about what you do. So there you go. Everyone's putting that in. If you can't work out how to make those amazing intricate designs, you can totally figure out how to the YouTube chat. I would love to bring Elaine into the YouTube world and all the rest of it. See, everyone, Elaine. Look at that. Look. It's all there. I don't know if you can see. It's your name over and over again. She probably won't ever speak to me again. No pressure, right? No pressure. Anyway, all right. That's it for the Laserologist showcase for this week. Some amazing projects. And I love the fact that we are getting projects and people exploring the laser technology. It is awesome to be able to see. But to be honest with you, one of the things that, I don't want to say breaks my heart, but does get me worried a little bit, the fact that this technology is now in the hands of people who are exploring it, and sometimes they can run into problems that are not just the material issues and you start again, but sometimes things come up that, I'll be honest with you, scare me. They scare me because I want to make sure everyone has a positive experience and no one gets hurt. So this is a bit of a new kind of venture for the live stream. Normally, I give presentations. I don't want to do that right now. I do want to talk about general laser safety, and I would love it if you guys would have the conversation with me, because I think this is kind of really important. So let's start with... let's start where we start, and that's lasers. What's lasers all about? Now, a lot of people aren't aware, but laser is actually an anagram, and it actually stands for light amplified by stimulated emissions of radiation. That is a incredibly technical term. So what does that mean, Gil? I don't understand what light amplification by stimulated emissions of radiation means. Sounds awesome. I'm going to put it in layman's terms. But I'm going to also show you this, how a laser works. And basically what is going on is that scientists have worked out how to take light that bounces around, and if you look at on the top right hand side, you see a flashlight, and you can see those kind of wavy lines. That's usually how light works. But in a laser, all those wavy lines line up, right? And there's multiple ways you can do it. You can do that using a gas, and that's what a CO2 laser is all about. That tube is a gas that when you put current through it in a certain way, it stimulates all the light waves to line up and travel in one way. Right? It does it at a very high frequency. So that's why a CO2 laser can cut perspex. It's not cutting anything on the visual spectrum, the spectrum we use with our eyes. And it's actually when you're cutting clear perspex, it's not so much the material, but the density that's catching that energy to burn all the way through. So let's go back here. For a diode, we're using a little piece of a little electrical component. I was going to say, electronic component that also stimulates light, but that's in the visible spectrum. So that's how a laser works. All you really need to know about lasers for this conversation is the fact that if you can take light and you can line it up, you're actually able to transmit immense energy over vast areas very, very quickly. The time it takes for the light from the sun to hit the earth is only a matter of minutes. I think it's about 12 minutes. I might be guessing that, but it's not a long time at all. That's why when we look at the stars with telescopes and we see stars that are, let's say, exploding, it could be millions and millions of years for that light to travel to Earth. But when it comes to the light that we're using right now, it's almost instantaneous. That's why if you're like me and you like Star Wars and science fiction films, everyone's jumping into hyperspace or light speed, because light speed is the fastest way we can travel. It's the fastest kind of matter that we know, or the way energy moves. It's the fastest that we know. We can't actually comprehend it. That right now there's a light above me that's bouncing off me and then bouncing into the camera and then being transmitted over the internet, and then your screens are bouncing light to you. Well, there's very little latency in that. Think about it. I used to have conversations with people all the time, and I used to like be a bit of a goof. Well, you would never know that, right? And I used to say, what would happen if you what would happen if you were in a car and you were moving at the speed of light and you turned on the headlights? And people would go, I don't know. And I just chuckled to myself, because you'd probably implode. You'd definitely destroy yourself, because if you're moving at the speed of light, you are light, and you'd be adding more material to that. So don't worry about it. But yeah, there you go. So understand that when we're using lasers, we are taking energy that normally bounces around and moves at the speed of light. I'm sorry, I just hit my microphone, right? So fast that we're able to look around a room, and of course in our eyes, we have cells in the back of our eyes that allows us to sense the light beams, right? And as light travels, it bounces off and it dissipates. Laser, all going one way, all shoring themselves up. So that, my friends, is how a laser works. Now, because of that, we're going to talk about the 3 different areas. We're going to talk about general laser safety, we're going to talk about operational laser safety, and we're going to talk about material safety, because this conversation could go on for hours, and I'm always running late. Our live stream always goes a little bit longer. We're going to pick 2 subjects in each of these categories, and we're going to go explore them. But before we do that, I do want to acknowledge... everyone's saying it's a really important subject. Yes, Jen's sharing with us. Looking at a laser light isn't going out of the sun isn't like going out of the sun with sunscreen. It's more like walking into a building on fire and you've just bathed yourself in gasoline. Not worth it. It's an great analogy, fantastic analogy. Let me share with you what will actually happen to your eye. In the case of, let's say, you see a laser, it will go from this. Let's see if I can do this. Hang on a second. So you can see the camera here. It'll be like this. Hi. That's it. It'll literally be like someone's turning off the camera. And that's what you see for the rest of your life. Now, it's interesting that the other interesting thing about this is, under the Geneva Convention, you cannot make laser weapons for warfare. And there has been one case where it's suspected that one foreign body used a laser weapon on another body, another country, as they were looking at an area. And it worked out that the pilot and this officer that was in the helicopter at the time, to this day, have incredible headaches, have to sit in a room with no light, and basically suffer. Like, they've got permanent eye damage. That's not because this sort of thing, well, like if we're using a laser and we happen to see it, it wasn't like this. They actually created a laser that worked on a certain frequency of your eye to actually kind of, I hate to say it, but to cause the most damage that would continue on. I mean, it's a horrible, horrible thing to say that, right? It's horrible to think. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments below, and I will see if I can dig up that the Wikipedia page that talks about that. I do know that I posted that up on Facebook. I found it incredibly fascinating reading. It's the only kind of weaponization of lasers that I know of, and it ended up going into international court. And unfortunately, because you can't prove the damage that was done or the pain that was suffering, this poor kind of military officer has to just kind of live with it. Both the pilot and this officer. It's kind of scary. Yep, the last thing you'll ever see. Totally, Jen. Absolutely. All right, let's move on. So let's talk about workspace. This is really important. This is definitely a general safety thing. Here's 2 examples. So, on the left, we have a very well thought out workspace. You can see in the left hand side there is a laser cutter with a cover that's a diode laser, so it's using a orange. It's not perspex. I believe it's a polycarbonate that's designed to filter out the dangerous light in the visible spectrum. And you can see over there you've got a works area. You've also got some extraction, and of course you've got on the right hand side, probably some people would say probably not the greatest application of laser technology, but that's my laser partner in crime, my buddy. And that looks familiar. Yes, that's Avery sitting on the Emblazer 2. He likes it because you can see that there's a window. He is definitely kind of enjoying the the cover. But you know what? This does bring up really interesting points, and this is what I wanted to talk to you guys about, is where have you got your laser set up? Is it in a room in the house? Is it in a workspace? Do children have access to it? Do animals have access to it? Now, Avery, my cat, he jumps up all the time. There was one time I had the lid open because I was working. He jumped straight into the laser. It wasn't operating because that's not how the Emblazer works. You can't fire the laser while the lid's open. But he looked at me like, I messed this up. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And thankfully, he's never done that again. But the look on his face was, I did something wrong. But again, be aware of these things. Be aware if you've got children in the home, please, especially with some of these lasers that don't have any housings, this is really, really important to make sure that you have your workspace set up well. If there's a fire that may happen with your laser, is your laser by the door? Do you have an exit route? Do you have a fire blanket next to your laser? Can you cut the laser's power without getting next to the machine? Will your pets jump up in the middle of a process? Unfortunately, my cat has definitely done that. He stopped the process a couple of times, but you definitely have, these are things to keep be aware of, because when it comes to general safety with your laser is always going to be manipulating energy, right? So there's always a chance that you can have, something happened. Now, I do want to go back here. Protective cat. I don't think he's protective. I think he just wants to be a part of the action, but that's kind of cool. Adrian says, my workspace is different now. Bigger laser in the center of the room now. Now, Adrian, I know that is your laser stuff in your bedroom still? I was thinking about, last year you were talking about the fact that you had to go to hospital because you were having some asthma type stuff. We're going to talk about venting. It may be, I know you're limited on space, but that may be something you want to look into. Just want to let you know. I was thinking about it when I was putting this live stream together, and I thought, do I say something? But I think it's definitely something to think about, especially if you're sleeping in a space where a laser is going on. I think it's different. It's designed to absorb stray laser light. You're talking about the cover? Yeah, absolutely. The polycarbonate. It's the same thing that they use sometimes on verandas for ultraviolet light. It's pretty awesome. That is actually what goes on. I think it's possible to be the tidiest workspace I've ever seen. Jen, well, you know what? If you're not using it, doesn't get messy. You should see the rest of this room. It is always busy. I clean it up. It takes me 3 days to clean it up, and then in 30 minutes it's all messy again because I'm using it. Pretty small workspace by my standards, Jen. Fair enough. Fair enough, Adrian. Mike's saying 3 exits, fire extinguisher, and a blanket. Awesome. And Adrian's, yeah, that's cool, man. I'm not trying to hassle you with it. I just want to make sure that you're safe. The fumes were from something different. Okay, ABS fumes from printing. Machine is ducted now. Yes. AB. You know what, Adrian? I know we're kind of like a laser live stream, but I had a friend of mine who when 3D printing first started, he bought himself a little UPS 2 machine, and it only shot ABS. And he put it in his bedroom because he lived with his parents, and he would print overnight. And probably a month, 2 months in, he's like, I've got asthma. And I'm like, really? Because we grew up together. He was a big sportsman and stuff. He goes, yeah, I can't breathe. I'm on Ventolin. I'm on all this stuff. Went over and he's like, hey, check out these prints. And I'm like, where's your printer? And he goes, it's in my bedroom. And I said, when do you print? He goes, well, I sleep. And I went, take the printer out. And literally within, I think it was another month, the asthma disappeared. ABS fumes, not the greatest. So I'm glad that you've vented it and that you're aware of that. But yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Adrian's saying it gives you headaches and makes you ill. It's I'm just going to share a little bit of my main knowledge right now. ABS is actually a byproduct of petroleum. That's why acetone works really, really well. Petroleum's oil, right? It's not a chemical that works really well with the human body, especially when you heat it up. So I'm glad that you're getting it out of there. Yeah, especially when you're sleeping 8 hours. Even if you only sleep 6 hours, not healthy, my friend. Glad to hear that you're aware of it and that it's been taken care of. We work with what we got, says Jen. This is the small offices that we had built in our garage. I love it. It's awesome. Let's move on to the next safety thing we're going to talk about in general safety, and that is fire prevention. We just heard that Mike has a fire extinguisher and a blanket. This is an image that came across on a feed where someone was using a laser, went off, and you can see what happened here. The material ignited. It actually, I think it melted the laser head as well. It happens. Guys, just, don't leave a laser going unattended. That's, I've done 24-hour burns on my Blazer 2. I did it for a friend's project. I took a smoke detector and I had actually set the laser up in such a way that if I had to cut power, that I'd be aware of it. Now, fire blankets are amazing. I must say that if you do get it in Blazer, you get a fire blanket, and my fire blanket is right next to my laser. Be aware of where you're going to put that fire blanket. If you've got to reach across a laser that's already in flames, it's not going to help. So make sure that you put the fire blanket close to your laser, but not, on a wall that you've got to reach across, because you don't want to do that. Stuart, how you doing, my friend? Come on in. Fire blankets are fantastic because most lasers use electricity. Now, if you want to get a fire extinguisher, make sure it is an electrical fire extinguisher. Usually they're foam or powder as opposed to water, because you don't want to be spraying water onto electronic components for a number of reasons. Most of the components will use 12 volts, but you don't want to get to the mains because that'll be the end of you. So think about just fire prevention, especially when you're using a laser. I can't stress this enough. You may never need to use a fire blanket or a fire extinguisher or cut power to your laser, and I hope every person who's listening and talking and part of this live stream, either live or the reruns, never ever have to use this. But definitely, you want to make sure that that the one time you need to, you're prepared for it. Now, Kent's sharing with us, definitely don't use foam. I think you're 100% right. I think I said use foam. Don't use foam. Don't use water. Use I think a dry extinguisher is what they use. I'm not or CO2 extinguishers work best for lasers. The power will destroy your laser unit. Mate, I agree with you there on Adrian, but if it's going to burn my house down, I'll rather destroy my laser unit than burn the house down. But you're right. Foam is a liquid, and you don't want to do that as well. So thank you so much, Kent, for catching me on that. All right, let's go to the next one. So operational safety, ventilation is a really important thing. We were just talking to Adrian about ventilation with his 3D printers. If you are using a laser cutter in a closed off area, a place that doesn't have free flowing air, you may want to get a extractor filtration unit. You can see one on the left hand side. That happens to be the filtration unit that I use on the Blazer. Those filter units come from or can be purchased through Darkly Labs. It's an amazing filter unit. The amount of charring smell and everything that is filtered out of that is just phenomenal on so many different ways. If you can afford to, I think it's a great way to use it. I would also open up windows just to get some free flowing air, but they are awesome. If not, you can vent your laser cutter directly out a window, and you can see someone's made a homemade ventilation pipe that goes straight out of a window. I think that's a K90, is it? Or K60, the little white and blue Chinese lasers. It is really kind of interesting to see that there are a lot of people who use these machines without ventilation. It just ventilates directly out into the room that they're working on. Not the safest thing by any means. We spoke about it last laser live stream last year when we were talking about food. When you use a laser to either cut or engrave, what you're actually doing is you're atomizing all the different chemicals that make up the material. So if I'm using a piece of plywood, it's the wood, it's the glue that they've used to glue those layers together. It's any imperfections or anything that's been used in the manufacturing. Maybe they've treated the wood so it doesn't rot as they travel. I don't know. You don't know. We're going to talk about how we can find those things out. But just be aware that when you use a laser, you're actually using that energy to burn and to kind of pulverize at a very, very microscopic level. What that does is that it actually creates kind of particles that are aerosolized, meaning that they are now free in the air to move around. And we as creatures, we're constantly breathing. If we don't breathe, we die. So you can imagine what's going to happen if I'm cutting a whole bunch of material in a room without free-flowing air. You're going to build up those particles, and over time, you're going to be breathing them in and out constantly. So just be aware of that when you are actually cutting material. One great way of being able to have ventilation is to take your laser out into a shed, open up the doors, right? Or do it outside if you have a space to be able to do that. If not, take the extraction tube and stick it out of the window. And you can see that. Whoa, no, that's my cat. No. You can see that right there where the extraction is going out into out of the window and out of the building. Now, something that's really interesting, and I saw a conversation that was happening in an Australian laser group, is that people were buying pretty serious CO2 lasers, and the council was shutting them down because they were venting that out the side of their house and the neighbors were complaining about it. So again, understand that if you're going to use your laser all the time, maybe you've got a side business, you need to be able to deal with that ventilation problem as professionally and as safely as possible. So yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go quickly back because I see some conversation here. CO2 extinguishers work best. Powder will destroy your laser unit. Adrian's also sharing us best system would be a halogen gas system. You wouldn't be in the room if you set that off. You need a mask. You need better mask than we have for COVID if you're going to use a halogen system. Go check out Terminator 2. They had one of those in their computer centers at Cyberdyne. Mine is ducted through a 4-inch pipe to the outside above the roofline. Okay, use pumps to extract the fumes. Awesome, Adrian. That's awesome. I use an inline hydroponic fan. Cool. Hey, whatever moves the stuff, whatever works for you is good, man. Whatever works for you guys is great. Hang on a second, I just hit the wrong button. Button, where's the button? And everything just went crazy. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can get this to settle down just a little bit. All right, we're good. All right, let's move on a little bit. We've got someone who came in to say Vernon. I don't know if that means something, but welcome. Mahaba. All right. Oh, I had to set up my buttons again, and they keep messing around. I'm sorry, I keep hitting stuff. When I build an enclosure, I'll run a live fire extinguisher test with the CO2 system. Kent, love it. Please share your results with us. That is awesome. And Rock and Rob said, vent is a big thing for me. Good. I'm glad it is. Have a big vent, always. This is one time where size does matter. Mine extinguishes through a 30 inches of a 4-inch hose to a charcoal filter. Also inline boosters, as well as a separate blower, cause it to push the smoke out in a type of into a Venturi effect. That's awesome. That's probably overkill, but you know what? I don't think you can get too much there. So there you go. Ventilation and filtration. Be aware of it. Hey, look at this. Thank you so much. Stuart saying, hey, Gil, the new logo graphic for the live stream looks great. Thank you so much. We've now adopted that right across the YouTube page. We are now the Laser Livestream. I kind of went all in on the laser stuff because people seem to be enjoying it, and I've been enjoying it too. I just did it again. I just hit the wrong button, and it just keeps smacking it back. I'm sorry, guys. Let's go to the next one so we don't have to do this again. Let's see. Did it work? Yes. Let's talk about vision safety. This is definitely a big part of what we talk about here. Vision safety, we've got an emblazer. You can see right there. The lid itself is part of the kind of optical protection for the laser. And you can see on the other side, we've got a CO2 laser, and it's using a piece of glass or tempered glass on the lid. And a lot of people say to me, I don't understand, Gil, why do we need to have a certain type of material for the diode laser as opposed to the CO2 laser? This comes back to what we were talking about before, about the fact that there's different wavelengths. Diode laser uses the visible spectrum when it lines up all the I guess, what are they, the light molecules, the light energy, which means that a diode laser is a little bit more dangerous when it comes to our eyesight. When it comes to a CO2 laser, it's much higher on the spectrum, and therefore, remember we're talking about perspex and the fact that the thickness, the density is what traps that energy to cut through. Same thing with glass. So there you go, man. It is a really, really interesting kind of thing. There are some people who think, well, hold on, a CO2 laser just needs a piece of glass. We don't need anything else. I strongly suggest making sure that you work out what you need for the frequency of the laser that you're going to use. So in this case, you can see that the emblazer, because a diode laser uses a completely different type of material to protect the laser operator as to a CO2 laser. And of course, if you don't have a top, a lid, or nowadays I think they have these laser screens. Do I have that here? No, I don't. Use the right type of laser goggles. Now, we went through a lot of this in an earlier laser live stream. I'm thinking I'm going to redo that presentation as a standalone video. But if I want to use those really cool purple glasses on the top right hand side, well, that's not going to work for my laser, because that's only going to filter out certain wavelengths of light. I need to use the goggles that are going to work for my wavelength of the laser that I'm using. And you can see the gentleman on the right, he was trying to set up a diode laser, and you can see around his eyes this kind of like, it almost looks like a bruising around his eyelids and his eyes. That was actually created from the light bouncing off the glass and into his face, right? So it wasn't a direct burn, but I guarantee you that he will have some sort of scarring on the cornea of his eyes. Hopefully over time it won't be too much of a problem, but very dangerous stuff. That's not a pinpoint laser hitting him. That is diffracted laser light that is hitting his face right there. And when I saw that, boy oh boy, did I start getting worried for what he was creating. You can imagine. So always make sure you're using the correct type of eye protection, whether it's built in. Like let's go back a second. In the Emblazer 2, you can see that they've got the cover. There's a lot of lasers that are now being sold. It's just the framework. Just the framework. They might have a little piece, a tiny little piece of this material where the laser is and all the rest of it. Don't let people go into rooms without glasses. If you're using, let's say, the Emblazer core, they come with a pair of glasses. If you've got people coming in, and I've actually even had this myself. I've actually operated a core, had glasses on when I'm looking at it, no problem. Then I turn away and I get just kind of a little bit of kind of splashback going through the glasses and hitting my eye, unshielded. And if you ever have that happen, you start feeling this kind of graininess in your eye. It's almost like you've got sand. And that's actually the light has kind of, I don't want to say scorched, but has affected some of the cells on the top layer of your eye. So you got to be really, really careful with it. And Dominic's here sharing with us, please remember that regular plastic and acrylics does not offer you suitable protection. I agree 100%. I'm going to put that up there so people can see right there in the laser chat. A lot of people think perspex, no problem, I'll get a piece of orange perspex. That's not the case. Polycarbonate is designed to actually filter out certain spectrums of light. We've talked about it before, but component costs, the most expensive component for the Emblazer 2 is that lid, because it is rated for the laser that the Emblazer 2 uses. So just really, really be aware of that. Stuart says, sounds like arc flash from welding. Glad did you mention that. Arc flash from welding works very similar way. If you ever have welded before, you cover your arms and in your body, not just because of splatter, but because the constant arc weld that you're doing actually generates energy in that kind of visible, in that not just visible light spectrum, but also in the spectrum that lasers use. So if you go and you start welding stuff without protection, you'll actually burn yourself, and it's a really bad sunburn. Same thing that who was it now talking about? Stuart, I don't know why you just retracted it, but yes, agree. Arc flash is one of those things that is very similar to laser damage when it comes to your eyes. I've had that happen too. You will know exactly what it is if you've been flashed by a laser, because for the next couple of hours you're going to be like, just doesn't feel right. Of course, you don't want to do that. So yeah, Stuart, absolutely, good point. All right, let's move on a little bit. So that's vision safety. We're also going to talk about material data sheets. These are really, really important. Material. I want to know from you guys, would you like me to go through a SDS, a safety data sheet, or a material data sheet with you, so you can go through and actually be able to identify how things are made up? Because these things are your friends. If you're working with materials constantly, this is totally where you need to be getting your information from. If you're buying materials that do not have a material data sheet or an SDS, I don't generally want to use that sort of material, because I don't know what it's made up of. And of course, there are some things you cannot put into a laser. You should not put into a laser. Anything that's made out of PVC, anything that has a chlorine base, do not put it into your laser. You will, at the very least, damage your laser. At the very worst, you can harm yourself and other people in the room, depending on how much material you're cutting. Now, one of the ways to be able to understand what material is made up of is these material data sheets. You can get them online, and you can definitely be able to work out exactly what it is that you're putting into your laser. So please, if you know what a SDS or a material data sheet is, if you're buying material from a supplier, they will have them either online or that you can get them at the time of purchase. Go through it, check out what it is. If you see a substance and you're not sure of it, Google it. Thank goodness we live in the day and age for the internet searches. You'll be surprised at how much you can get out of that. Someone just recently asked me about 2 products that they use in their laser. I sent off an email to the head chemist of a company that releases that. I'm waiting for the response. I'm going to definitely share that, because there could be a lot of people who hear about different techniques on the internet. Well, if one of those techniques is actually dangerous and someone's putting out that information and no one's checking up on it, there could be potentially a whole lot of people who will suffer for that. So I will let you know what's going on there once I get that information. Let's go. Stuart saying, Gil, I think going through an SDS is a good idea. Also good to read the SDS before using paint. 100%. Great, Stuart. I'm glad you are. Mike saying, add it to your video on safety glasses. Probably have to do 2 of them. Otherwise, it's a little bit too long. I learned the hard way, says Dominic. Welding with short sleeves. Everyone does that. My teacher made me do that initially too. Yeah, that hurts. In fact, I had to go out and buy a welding jacket because I just realized it couldn't do it. Rock and Roll had the same thing. Yeah, you know what? Sometimes people are cruel. All right, and we also I want to talk about the fact that all materials are not created equally. There's a lot of conversation, especially when it comes to laser users who are maybe starting out in this hobby. Maybe they got a side business. If you are working on a side business, you want to make sure that your dollar can be stretched as far as possible. So I know that there's a lot of people out there who talk constantly about what's the difference between, let's say, laser ply and plywood from a hardware store. Well, laser ply, you're guaranteed to know how it's made. It's also made in a very specific way so that it cuts perfectly on your laser every time. The plywood in your hardware store is usually bought at the lowest cost possible. What do I mean by that? I mean that if a big company goes out and wants to buy, let's say, 100 square meters of material, and they will go and they will look for the lowest manufacturing price possible. That also means that one kind of lot of material might come in and you might be perfectly fine, and you might go back to that store and there's a new lot of material from a completely different manufacturer who might be working out how to save some costs, might be using different materials, might be a whole different methodology of creating that material in the first place, or it could be something completely different. If you aren't able to track how that material is made, you don't know what you're putting it into your laser. Could be the first time they used PVA glue, could be the next time they used a glue that was, I don't know, maybe lead-based. I don't know if there's lead-based paint, glue in there. Maybe they use lead-based paint. I don't know, and neither will you. So my advice is find the material that you want to use and find it from a reputable source. I know laser ply costs way more than, let's say, going down to a hardware store and just picking up a piece. Of course, if you are going to be creating lots and lots of different projects and you're going to be using your laser all the time, you're also going to up your exposure time when you're cutting that material out. MDF is a fantastic example of that, because MDF is made up of all the tiny little bits of sawdust, and then they put it with glue and press it together to make a board, right? A medium density fiber board. Well, we don't know what glue they've used. We don't know what the makeup of it is, and usually it's really, really hard because most materials in a hardware store is not designed to be put into your laser. It's just really something to be aware of. In fact, Kent just shared with us, it could be formaldehyde glue. That's one of the things that a lot of MDF is made up of. So again, you want to be really aware that when you are atomizing small parts of that material, that you're doing it in a safe way. There's ventilation, you clear air, maybe even wearing a respirator, and you're not putting anyone or anything at risk. Dominic's sharing with us that it costs a little more to purchase laser safe materials. Sometimes it's difficult to justify, but in the long run, it's the best decision. I agree 100% on that statement. There's no sale, there's no project that's worth you being harmed for. Because the truth of the matter is, you're going to leave your laser aside when you're dealing with health problems, or you've had a negative experience. That's what scares the bejeebers out of me. So guys, all material is not created equal. That is true also for acrylics. If you get a great deal on acrylic that came from an overseas source, see if they have an SDS and what it's been made up of. I cannot stress this more often. You need to be safe when you are using your laser, so you can use your laser for the longest period of time. Mike sharing with us right now, comparing laser ply, there are some cheaper sheets to use, like poplar birch, so you can still go cheaper but safer. I agree 100%. And Rock and Rob sharing with us, do you have any tips for smoke exhaust through the cutting screen mesh? For instance, should we cover all available space on the honeycomb to maximize suction in a cut that you're currently cutting? To be honest with you, Rob, if you are getting smoke, you probably need to turn down your laser just a little bit. I have a video on how to work out the best laser settings. I would definitely try that. You can do that for a diode laser. You can do it for a CO2 laser. You can't do it with the fiber laser, because fiber lasers are really there for engraving, not for cutting. But if you are getting smoke, having a open ventilation system in your space is probably the thing that's going to save you the most. The more airflow you've got, you're diluting that kind of smoke through. I personally haven't gone and blocked off honeycomb before, but if that's something you want to do, I can definitely see why some people would do that. Absolutely. I actually, this reminds me, now that I'm thinking about it, one of the very first laser projects I ever worked on was basically refitting a laser at a makerspace, and we wanted to test whether the machine was kind of airtight enough that we had a kind of an extraction fan that was blowing the stuff out of, like it was almost like a chimney. And I remember thinking to myself, how are we going to test it? So what we did was we took a smoke machine, we put it on the inside, we kind of fogged up the machine, then turned the extraction on. And I remember there was a knock on the door, and it was the neighbor who thought the place was on fire. And we said, no, it's okay. We were just testing the extraction. So You may want to see whether or not you can you can't get an airtight seal on your laser. You wouldn't want to anyway. But if you can block off some of the major areas so that smoke wouldn't kind of escape that way, that could definitely help. A colored smoke test, it was white. It was white. I remember because the neighbors were a Chinese restaurant and they thought we were on fire. It was pretty funny, man. Dominic also sharing with us that depending on your design of your machine, taking fumes away quickly can and also having fumes removed from the underside of the material quickly is important. So yeah, I've got a sneaky suspicion. Does Rock and Rob have I'm going to say a thunder laser? Possibly. I'm not too sure, but maybe not. But for some reason, I thought you had a thunder laser. Thunder lasers seem to be very, very popular right now. But we'll I look forward to the day that I can work on one myself. So we'll see what happens. So guys, there are the 6 areas that I wanted to just have that conversation with, just to start that conversation. We're definitely going to dive deeper into some of those areas as the live streams unfold this year. So definitely kind of be aware of it. Thank you so much for having that conversation. I know it's a bit of a buzzkill. People can sit here and say, Gil, I don't want to talk. Don't make problems for me. I've got my laser. I've got everything that's going on. Don't cause me problems. I'm not trying to cause problems with these sort of things. All I'm trying to do is be able to make everyone aware of what is needed, so that you guys can get the best out of your machinery and you can have, as I said, the best experience. And this technology is kind of awesome. Rock and Rob says he's got an Omtech 7 watt. Okay, 70 watt. I'm looking forward to playing with one of those machines too. All right, let's go to one. Well, some people said it's their favorite part of the laser live stream. So let's see if my lips can do it. Let's go to the good, the bad, and the ugly. I got to change that up, guys. I got to change it up because I got pinged on YouTube. YouTube was like, copyright violation. All right, today's good, the bad, the ugly material is... And I'm glad Stuart is here. I hope he's still here. It is cork. And cork is harvested from the bark of the cork oak and is elastic, pliable, and most importantly, it is fire-resistant material. So it is really, really cool to be able to work with cork. I know that I got introduced to it when Stuart was doing engravings on cork. And what's really cool about cork is that when it's used in a laser process, it has a mild to strong oxidizing effect. And this means that you can darken the material, and that's actually naturally what happens. And you can see in the examples there how dark cork can be when you actually put it through on the laser. Rock and Rob says, I have pretty good suction. But I've seen people who open up their honeycomb to age suction. Okay. I actually haven't had that experience, my friend, so I don't want to say yes or no. Now, cork, when you put it into a laser, it oxidizes, and this is a perfect material for engraving and image work. And given its natural properties, there's a little danger of this material catching on fire in a laser cutter as long as you use it in a normal way. And cork is just awesome. It's such an interesting way of being able to get a unique look. I'm waiting for Stuart to jump in and talk about his cork experiences, but this material is a good material to put into your laser. It's natural, again, like every other caveat that I have, as long as you are not it hasn't been treated beforehand, it's not sealed beforehand, you can get some really great look and projects out of cork, especially if it's in this natural form. So there you guys go. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly for this week. Go get some cork, put in your laser, see what you can create. Then share it with us on the Facebook group. If you are not a member, go into the description and hit that link to the Facebook group and then show me what you create with cork. Cork looks good. I think it does too. Jen, don't you think? Oh, Jen likes the way that it looks when in the fill. Yeah, smart stuff. And you don't need a lot of energy to do that as well. You can just kind of get that going. So it's kind of cool. Well, my hour-long live stream went for another hour and a half. That time just goes. And you know what? I've been enjoying myself because I feel like I'm back in the swing of things. It was a little rocky. Oh, well, not rocky, but it was a little bit, I got to remember how to do this. Getting in front of the screen can be a little intimidating, but it is a lot of fun. So, Gil, I thought you... Oh, Adrian. Not Stuart, Adrian. I was waiting for Adrian to come in, of course. I'm sorry. You tried it once. Well, I think you tried it once, but I think Adrian has done a lot of imagery on Cork, so it's kind of cool. I'm confused. Did I miss the bad and the ugly, or do we just get... We only get one, Jen. We only get one a live stream. You get something good, you get something bad, you get something ugly. We do that all the time. It'll only be 3 episodes. So it's kind of cool. Welcome back, Gil. Thank you so much, Rob. I'm so glad you're able to come and join us. I know the time difference can be a little bit crazy. Guys, thank you so much. Before we go, I do want to let you guys know that we are still looking for tips and tricks from the community. I want to do another special of all the amazing things that we all learned together. We did one last year. I want to do another one. If you have a favorite tip or trick that you want to share with the community, hit me up on the email at laser.livestream@gmail.com. Alternatively, if you're working on a project or you're having maybe you're struggling with Lightburn or whatever else is going on, I do virtual classes and one-on-one tuition. Those sessions are now open. We had some really, really cool learning sessions over the break. If you're interested in that, feel free to contact me at laser.livestream@gmail.com. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, we can get together and work through it. It is awesome. I personally get a big kick out of seeing some of the projects that you guys develop, and I know, I've got one student, I'm going to call him a student, who started off and they were like, I have one problem, I just want this one problem, and then they end up coming back because we had such a great time. We're able to develop that idea. Hopefully it'll become an actual product really, really soon. So if you're interested, definitely hit me up on laser.livestream@gmail.com. I will do my very best to get in touch with you and find a time so we can work together. I also want to thank, as always, the sponsors, both Darkly Labs and Lightburn, for making these laser live streams possible. It is really, really cool. And before we go, I do want to shout out that Darkly Labs now has... Can I add a Darkly request for all Emblazer users? So if you've got an Emblazer or you're interested in diode lasers, Darkly Labs has an amazing community on their website. So if you go to www.darklylabs.com, I think it's /community, or it's definitely in the menu. Go and check them out. There's a whole lot of projects up there. You might even see me posting. It's a great place, and we're more than happy to shout that out for you, Dominic. Absolutely. Mike saying, great start to the new year. Thank you so much. Have a good morning, evening all. Till next time, same bat time, same bat channel, same laser time, same laser channel. Sorry. Rob says, I also have one problem in Lightburn that I'm eager to solve. We can definitely talk about that if that's what you want to do, or you can come over to the Facebook group and just ask. It's no problem. If you need personal tuition, Rob, I'm your man, and I would love to help you out on that. Select the community options from their page. Absolutely. It's a cool site, says Stuart. Absolutely. Darkly Labs is a very, very cool site. Guys, that's it for me for this very first laser live stream for 2022. If you're not already members, go and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. There is definitely going to be new things coming up. You don't want to miss the next live stream. I'm telling you, if you are keen to test your laserologist skills, this is definitely going to be the place to be. Until then, I want you guys to enjoy yourself. Stay safe. I know the world has been kind of crazy. We thought we were over this COVID-19 nonsense. And I know it's been hard for me and all the rest of it. So, guys, just stay safe. Go spend some time with your lasers and go make something amazing. I'm going to see you in 2 weeks' time. Miss you all. Love you all. Thank you so much. Stay safe.